Welcome to the HR Empowerment Podcast, where we will uncover strategies and new insights from HR professionals who discuss up-to-date regulations, best practices, and the most pressing topics like diversity and equity, leadership, dealing with difficult situations, and much more that affect your bottom line and business. Thanks for joining us.
Tina, about using someone like yourself, an external business advisor, specifically to improve performance management of a team or a specific individual. What has your experience been on this, and how would somebody go about this? Just call you and go, help?
That's actually what happens. So usually who we're working with at Cultivate Advisors are businesses that are in growth mode. So there's definitely a lot of challenges which hopefully most businesses are in some type of growth mode, either fast or just sustaining growth. And performance, obviously having a culture and having a performance team is key to being successful and key to having that growth. For me, and our process is doing a whole deep dive, understanding the goals and all of that. But I think it really comes down to understanding what the big picture goals are, what the shorter metrics and initiatives are, breaking that down, and then having accountability towards those goals. And I think that's the biggest challenge when we see people business owners coming to us. It's like they got the big vision, and then they have the little weeds and the tactical things, which you can't get from one to the other, or you'll be stuck on tactical all day. So it's really breaking that down. How do you eat an elephant one bite at a time type of thing? And so we're able to then take those goals, see who the team members are on the team, what each of them need to do in pursuit of those big goals, break those down into bite-sized metrics, help those individuals. Like, how do I get to that quarterly goal or that annual goal? Well, let's work through that person's own skills and where they excel and where they are maybe weaker, and then work on those skills and those, whatever they need to get to those goals. So it's really that middle piece between the tactical and the great big picture goal. That's where that is.
Yeah. So quick little side note here. One of my best friends is an elephant trainer. So we would appreciate if you did not eat the elephant at all. Thank you very much. She's also an independent contractor with my company and does all my recruiting for me too. So very multi-talented. So I just thought that was a funny thing to share there. One question I wanted to ask you is there industries that you specialize in, and should a business advisor be specializing in certain industries or even departments?
So there are other advisors out there that specialize in, say, marketing, and that's all. They really, really niche about marketing or sales. And there's some that are just leadership. The thing that makes us different is that Cultivate, we look at all four of those aspects of the company: the sales, marketing, leadership, and recruitment, all tied to financials. So if you need something that is just really specific, sure, there's experts in those areas. But when we're talking about a performance culture, we have to understand the whole company's goals, not just the sales goals, not just how many people we need to produce the widget or produce the services, but the whole overall holistic approach to what the goals are, and then the individuals on that team. That, again, another analogy is everybody in the boat has to be rowing in the same direction.
That would be nice, right?
That's the goal.
That's the goal. Since we're on the topic of, performance improvement and performance management, do you work with things like SMART goals and review forms and things like that?
Every goal should be SMART, and not just being smart, but it has to be measurable. Otherwise, it's more of a tactic. If you can't put some type of measurable on it, it needs, because otherwise, how do you know when you achieved it? Right? It's like we can't have, and we've seen this too of business owners are like, well, I just want my clients to be happy and I want them to order from me again or whatever. It's like, well, okay, but how do we know they're happy? So are we doing a survey? Are we gathering some repeat customer data? What is the numbers behind it? Or even some projects and performance might be tied to a time. So there just is some kind of measurable so that we know when we've achieved that goal, and then we know the next section of that goal, right?
Right. Absolutely. So, hey, you mentioned, Cultivate. JC, can you do a quick marketing blurb on who Cultivate Advisors is?
Oh, yeah. I think I've got something written down over here. Let me take a look and see what I got. I had a whole bunch of stats at the ready for you, too, if you want them, but we could talk about that coming up in a bit. But look, what they do, they specialize in business growth, making sure all 4 areas of business are running smoothly and tie back to financials. 2 of those 5 are recruiting and leadership. That's the best I got for right now. How'd that work for you?
Oh, that's great. And I know it's also marketing too. We just don't specialize in marketing, but hey, we probably have some listeners that are like, oh, I do too, because many of our listeners are small business owners, or they are maybe like the operations person that they're kind of doing everything, including marketing. So check out cultivateadvisors.com. They are a small business advising firm that partners one-on-one with small business owners and professionals. So it's not just about owners. It's about professionals too, that in the end will help the owners because it's going to improve their bottom line, because everyone's going to be A players because of their relationship and their success working with business owners. Thanks for listening to episode 4 of our 5-part series on helping all professionals by using external business advisors. In our next episode, our final episode, we're going to cover some final words of advice from Tina Moser to HR professionals, owners, and any kind of leader who wants to offer the best resources to their employees. I just want to also say, as the HR lady, I'm always looking for feedback on our program. So send me an email, find me on LinkedIn. Let me know what you want to hear and who you want to hear from, or if you, one of our listeners, wants to be a guest on our podcast. Thanks for joining us. A leader who wants to offer the best resources to their employees. I just want to also say, as the HR lady, I'm always looking for feedback on our program. So send me an email, find me on LinkedIn. Let me know what you want to hear and who you want to hear from, or if you, one of our listeners, wants to be a guest on our podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for joining the HR Empowerment Podcast, brought to you by Aurora Training Advantage. We hope you've gained new insight and strategies to navigate the HR profession. We look forward to you joining us again on the HR Empowerment Podcast.